My wife Angela and I have two sons. They're 14 and 11, so we've got a rising high school student and a rising middle schooler. And I feel this issue very personally. In fact, I'm the only candidate in the race with kids in the schools. My oldest son will be going to a high school where there was a violent incident. And we've seen a proliferation of ghost guns. And we have to acknowledge that until we deal with this massive proliferation of weapons, there's going to be serious safety issues. However, I think we have to focus on violence prevention in our schools. And I've been volunteering with a group of parents. We go into my son's middle school, and we're just a friendly adult presence, not supervising, not enforcing rules, being there, talking, mentoring, helping kids see that there are supportive adults around them. To me, that's a good metaphor. We need better trained teachers and administrators. We need coaches. We need youth sports. Our kids are experiencing a crisis. We've been through a terrible time with COVID. They're stressed out. They're feeling very anxious about the world, and the adults that they see in the world are behaving poorly as well. And we need to meet this moment with a much bigger effort to make them safe. As I said, more youth sports, more social workers. The council has added significant funds for violence prevention teams in all of our high schools. But let's engage our kids in safety campaigns. We need to talk to them about sharing information with a trusted adult, because the kids know what's going on. When there's two kids who have a conflict that's going to brew into something significant, there are other kids that know, and we need our children to feel safe to share that information. That's the way we're really going to stop violence from occurring in our schools. And as your county executive, I'm going to put more investments in place and build a stronger safety campaign and a culture of safety with children, students, families, and all the professionals in our school buildings. Well, and I think families in Germantown will relate to this as well. It wasn't long ago I took my youngest son for a movie and ice cream in downtown Silver Spring. And we were sitting on Ellsworth, and it was the first time in about 15 years, it was about 9 o'clock, 9:30, that I have ever not felt safe in downtown Silver Spring. And in fact, there had been a drive-by shooting several days prior. And I felt very strongly at the time and that the executive branch was not assertive enough in managing the situation in downtown Silver Spring. So I understand that feeling safe is at the core of what makes Montgomery County a great place to live. It's what we love, is safety in schools. But I also think about this issue in more complex ways. My oldest son, he loves to go to downtown Silver Spring with his friends. And we want to know that he's safe from crime. We also want to know that just because he's a teenager wearing a hood and he's black, that he's not going to end up in a dangerous situation, someone accusing him of doing something, or perhaps even having a bad interaction with police. So I think we need safety and reform. And the answer here is in changing who we recruit. We're in a crisis with policing. The reason why people are not signing up for our police department or other police departments is because of the crisis that we've all seen in the media. And until we solve those problems, I am afraid that this is not going to improve. So being active in a reform agenda is being pro-police. We need these things to go together. We've got to recruit more young local people to be officers and more women to be police officers. We've got to change the rules by which they do their work. And we need an executive who's going to back the management of our department, because it's proven, it's a fact that great management in departments solves crime. But we also need prevention. We've got to have more youth sports. We've got to have things for kids to do in these terrible, stressful times. We need an outlet for our young people, because when they don't have it, they get into trouble. Well, as a parent of two kids, I want my kids to have a future in this county, and I want all of our kids to have a future in this county. And what do they need for that to be possible? They need great career options, and they need housing that they can afford. Montgomery County is not producing enough great private sector careers or affordable housing. And so that's a really big problem, and we need to turn it around. What's the answer? There are many answers, but let's start with transportation. We have got to have a stronger connection to Virginia. Our county executive has been fighting against a practical solution to expand the American Legion Bridge and fix 270. We've got to have a better connection with our research universities and our federal labs. The University of Maryland is right next to Montgomery County, but it's not integrated enough into our economy. The county executive proposed single tracking the Purple Line, which has 4 stops on the University of Maryland campus, connects Silver Spring and Bethesda. We need to redevelop the Red Line corridor all up and down. We need more Bethesdas, walkable city centers up and down Rockville Pike. County executive has supported moratoriums over new development on Rockville Pike. We need to rebuild the Purple Line, or build the Purple Line corridor as an economic engine, make it affordable, walkable, and a place where technology companies in quantum or more life science companies would want to be. County executive proposed single tracking the Purple Line into downtown Bethesda. We need more affordable housing. Companies can't grow here if they can't hire here because their workers can't afford to live here. We need a pro-housing county executive. That is one of the most important things we need to have. And we don't have that today. We have the opposite of that. We have a county executive who has been fighting against new housing at every turn. So the good news is we have life sciences growing. We have an opportunity now to get a locomotive that'll pull our train. But we got to get it right. We got to get all those things right. And if we do, we're going to win. But if we don't, if we blow it, it's more decline. This is an area where I've been working really hard and I think delivering results for our community. First of all, there are many different transportation systems in the county and they all need to be functioning optimally. Let's start with our roads. A year ago, I worked with our governor to help move forward on a very controversial project. I recognize that it's controversial. And I don't think we can let the perfect be the enemy of the good. We have to expand capacity on the American Legion Bridge and on 270. I don't support widening the Beltway, but we need to have a functioning system to get across the bridge. It's not even only a local priority, it's a national priority. You've got to be able to get to the #1 economy in the region, or Montgomery County is going to wither on the vine. So I have been helping us move forward on that project while our executive has been obstructing. On Metro, we need Metro to be back to full service. We need the state to continue to invest in Metro so that the trains run more frequently, so that they're safe, and so our riders will come back. We've got to have a great Purple Line. The Purple Line is one of the most important transportation opportunities for our county. And we have an executive who has obstructed and even proposed single tracking, diminishing the number of trains that could service that line. We need to make walking and biking real transportation choices so that people will feel safe walking to the bus or walking from the metro to their job. And we have not had enough emphasis on safety in Montgomery County. It's been a big priority for me. I've added significant funding in our capital budget for it. And as county executive, I'm going to keep that up. And there are some long-term opportunities we got to move forward on, like the Red Line to Germantown. We need to extend it to Germantown. MARC train should be a real commuter rail like what you see in the Northeast. So we've got to get going on the long term and on the short term on systems big and small. And when we do that, then we'll be in a much stronger position. I want my 2 boys to have the opportunity to live in this county. I want all of our kids to have a chance to live in this county. And I want our empty nesters and retirees to be able to stay in this county. And that is not the trajectory that we're on. We are a housing shortage community. We're becoming like the West Coast, where the workforce has to live in entirely different jurisdictions. And your teachers can't continue to teach in your class because they've had to move to get somewhere where they can raise their growing family because your community doesn't want to create enough townhouses and enough, normal middle class housing. Those are the issues that we're grappling with, and it's affecting people at every level of income. It's a crisis. We need a county executive who's going to spend more time being creative and making things happen and less energy just criticizing and getting in the way and saying no. So that's why I supported the regional housing strategy. The Council of Governments came together to say we're all going to work harder to create more housing. County executive opposed that. That's why I proposed accessory dwelling units, basement apartments, and the backyard cottages. It's a great solution. It's a practical solution. County executive opposed that. That's why I supported lifting the moratorium on new housing. County executive opposed lifting that moratorium. We need creative thinking, like how do we get the bus parking lot in Shady Grove, get the buses out of there so we can build some housing there and get that community growing again. Our county executive voted against master plan after master plan, the new housing in Montgomery Village or in Silver Spring around the Purple Line or even in downtown Bethesda. Voted no, voted no, voted no. So, you know, we recently had a debate over whether to put housing on the Chevy Chase Library site. Had to drag the county executive to get support for that idea. We still aren't there yet. We need an executive who believes that we have a problem and is going to take action. And if we don't, the path that we're on is going to lead to more homelessness, a tougher time to be here in the workforce, and fewer retirees being able to stay. Well, thank you. So first of all, I'd like to associate myself with the county executive's comments. His commitment to meeting the crisis with providing abortion care is one that I share. And I think, you know, as county executive, I will be 100% dedicated to ensuring that anyone who needs care and comes to this county from outside, we will figure out how to be supportive. So let me shift the focus a little bit and just talk a little bit more pragmatically about being a parent. And I know that that's a lot of moms are experiencing tremendous stress through COVID. We need a county executive who is committed to having safe in-person school, because when parents can't have their children in daycare or in school, it means many of them can't work. I have talked to so many moms who are absolutely at the end of their rope. They are saying to me, my employer doesn't value my contribution because I can't show up and my job requires me to show up. I'm afraid that my career has suffered a significant setback. We need an executive who is going to lead this community through the process and have a better reopening of schools than what we had in January or September of this year. Help our child care providers manage this more successfully than they are even now today, because women need help with their children. It's a crisis. Our parents are facing a crisis. We need more pre-K, we need more after-school programming, we need all of these resources and supports so that it's a, you know, you can have more success and feel more confident and have a better career in this county because your children are getting their needs met. I am confident in our electoral system. You know, we have to be vigilant. We've had a lot of battles with the Board of Elections about the early vote locations, for example, and making sure that they're fairly distributed throughout our community so that everyone has access. But I think the great lie of, you know, significant voter fraud in 2020 is repulsive, and I fear for this country and the path that we're on. And I generally feel that we are, you know, this country is being controlled by a minority that does not support, you know, our democratic principles.